Hey, I'm David Carbines. I'm the founder of a startup called Cogsflow, and I'm also a co-founder and director of Red Hat Impact. As an undergrad, I studied history, economics, development studies, and classical voice. I was with World Vision in Africa during the GFC. So I came back and I did the grad program at Aldi Supermarkets. I was in strategy and operations consulting at Deloitte. I moved to a social enterprise incubator called the Difference Incubator. I set up my own business with a couple of mates at that point. I've also worked at Engineers Without Borders and Arup, the design engineering consultancy. It's funny, moving between each one of those instances, the global financial crisis was perhaps the one that brought me back to Australia. Moving from Aldi was to pursue a broader challenge at the big end of town and learning. I moved with a mentor to a small startup called the Difference Incubator, and starting my own business was kind of over a few coffees with one friend in particular, and Cam introduced Paul and I, the three of us started our business. But the rest of them have always been kind of relational, always been connections or recommendations of people that I trust and care about. Received a lot of career advice along the way. The best has been about learning and growth. So the best has always been centered on me and saying, as an individual, what do you enjoy doing? What are you good at doing? What do you like doing? And the second one has been around risk and saying, are you taking enough risk? As a youngster, someone who's kind of just at the start of their career, when the cost of living is low, there's nothing that stops you from getting on a plane or flying across the world or working part-time or working on something that you really love, that's interesting, that will set you up for success down the track. I've got loads of friends that have started their own businesses. I've got loads of friends that have gone into big organizations, but I guess the thing that unites the successful ones from the ones that kind of are just reactive is the ones that are on the front foot, that are always looking to make things happen. I think no matter whether you're in a large or a small organization, that kind of sets you apart. And the other thing is balance doing things that you're good at with things that interest you. So there's two different people can look at the same job description, and for one it can be amazing and awesome, and for the other it can be boring and staid and annoying. Figuring out which one of those people you are is really probably what you should be doing at the start. The worst career advice has been around optimizing for money or prioritizing the short term at the expense of the long term. You as an individual are separate and distinct from your organization, unless you're the founder. And thinking about yourself and where you'll be in 10 years' time is really helpful. Perhaps that's also one of the things I wish I knew when I started my career, is that it's not singular and, you are one thing for the rest of your life. Think of your career in 5-year blocks or 3 to 5 year blocks. That's probably the right amount of time for you to learn something, for you to deliver something, and then for you to see what's next. And understand that it's an iterative game. The decisions you make today will determine tomorrow's options. What are the kinds of things you'd like to be focused on or thinking about in the future? Like many people, I've made loads of mistakes, and most of them center around people, either not understanding those around me. So whether it's a client or a partner or my boss or a team member or someone who reports to me, a lack of empathy or understanding, a lack of understanding what constitutes success for those people. That's probably the one thing that's united everything that I've really sucked at. And next to that is at a personal productivity level and also at an organizational level, is just not doing the hardest thing first. So if there's 20 things you've got to get done, do the 1 or 2 things first that unlock success for everything else. Avoid the cosmetic things or come back to the cosmetic things, but make sure that the foundational structural things are right. And if you get those things right, I think loads of those other things kind of sequentially follow. And lastly, dithering and choosing not to decide or choosing delay, that's usually worse than choosing an outcome that could result in failure. So making sure that, you know, it's not life or death. And once you establish that it's not fatal, but kind of optimizing for the right things and choosing actively to make things happen usually is a better response than just waiting. One of the things that's helped me be successful is relentless optimism. I heard it said somewhere that optimism is a force multiplier. And given that lots of what we do is either people-based by the counterparty on the other side or people on your own side, try to be the person that not only pulls their own weight, but pulls others up. Just makes you the kind of person that gets invited to the room. That's the kind of thing that helps you to move forward and figure out what's next. Catch me online, find me on LinkedIn, that's probably the best place. And if this has been of any value to you, please let me know which bit and tag me in your own response to this. Cheers.